Hello, in this video we're going to be looking at creating variable rate application maps. To start with, we have to have a contour or a grid map to start with. Then we need to make an appropriate legend. Then we'll be looking at how we add inputs to the software, Lime and application equipment for example. Then how we change the variable rate parameters, and then finally looking at how we export our VRA maps. Okay, we want to now look at creating our variable rate application map. The first thing that we need to do is to cut the number of legends that we have on our yield data, because that will reflect directly on the variable rate application map that we're creating if we're creating that map from our yield data. Just to give you an example, this is an example of a map that I created when we had 6 legends, and the map here that was created is incredibly complicated and a hell of a lot of work for the fertilizer spreader or the sprayer to do to spread fertilizer on those areas. So that's the reason we don't want to have many legends here. We want to keep it nice and simple, so we'll remove that layer back to Spinny as we had before. I've already created a contour zone of 3 zones, and now I'm going to create my variable rate application map. However, before I create the map, what I must do is add my farm inputs. Just as though we're going farming, I need to go and gather my machine, which is an application machine, and then I need to go and gather my tractor, and then I need to go and gather my person, and then I need to go and gather my lime to go and do the job. So the software is very, very reflective of what you would do in real life on the farm. So now I've got my working group, I can go back to my management tree and software and the view and create a simple application map from the contour grid that we've got here. So on the contour map, I'm going to right mouse click and then create application plan, and we say, yeah, we've got all the things that we need to do. We've got a driver, we've got a spreader, we've got a tractor, and we've got our lime, and it's going to be a variable rate application job, which is good. So I click OK on this one. And if you remember from the slide before, what we have now is just 3 zones in our field rather than the 6 that we had before. So this becomes very much more manageable for our application equipment than what we had earlier on. So I've got a number of choices now as to what rates I actually apply. I can go and manually change them in the legend on the values up here, and so I can change the rate. So I've got 12 tons per hectare, 9 and 5 if I want to do it that way, or I can click the adjust button here if I'm looking at the quantity that I want to put on. So if I've got only got 40 tons to put on, I can put in 40 and it will make the changes to the rates based on based on the quantity that I have available. Or if I just have a budgeted figure, I can put in £5,000 and then click apply, and it'll change the rate from there. So the choice is entirely yours as to how you go about applying rates to those zones, and that's for you to decide, and that's an agronomic decision, not about software. The one thing that we may want to consider though is this area, this blue area down here. It's only a very small area, and that may not be appropriate to spread any fertilizer in that area. We may want to have it the same as the yellow area. So to change it, very simple, we highlight it so it's live. We click the yellow button on our values, and then we click off the map somewhere to then convert and make active the area that we've just made live, and we want to change. So whichever way round we go about setting our values, that's entirely up to you. The process is the same, but the key to it really is not having too many legends and too many zones here to make it manageable when we get to our field. So we're going to click save and close now once we're happy with that map. And what I'm going to do is, now I know that this is the application that we're going to go and do, because it hasn't got a tick in it. If it's got a tick in it, then I know that it's a job that I've got to go and do. And also I notice on my in my jobs tab, the application map that I've just created, which is live, is in orange, and the one that I've already done is in black as a job that has been completed. So there's a number of ways in which we can identify which map we need if we have a number of applications that we need to go and do. So the next job is to export it out to the monitor. So I highlight that job that I've got to go and do. I right mouse click and select export. And now I have the choice of exporting it as a shapefile, which then will go onto my USB stick, which will then go into my controller from there. So I click save, and there we go. Our job is now exported out into the monitor, and that's how we create a variable rate application map and send it to the monitor.